Well, hello and welcome to Contramundum. CJ Engel is lost. We can't find him. He was on an airplane and all the air traffic controllers called in sick today. And so he could be anywhere in the country. We really don't know. He was supposed to be here. But in his place is Mr. Ron Dodson and Stormy Waters joining us for the very first time, and Ron for the millionth time. Today we are going to talk about globalism and how it is potentially going to end. Is it going to end? That is the question for this panel I've assembled of brilliant men. So stay tuned. Welcome to Contramundum.
The American Revolution, in other words, is never finished. It must always be renewed.
Greater love than this hath no man, than that he lay down his life for his friend.
What if it's not envy?
We must take back our cities, and take back our culture, and take back our country. God bless you, and God bless America.
All right, we're back. So, gentlemen, how are you? Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Doing well. I can't remember the last time I've been called brilliant. So, I mean, it's already the highlight of my day.
It's apt.
Yeah, so you better live up to it.
Talking to Mr. Stormy in real life, IRL, as the kids say, is a fun experience. A very bright mind.
Yeah, Ron
It's
is
funny because I'm a
world's
giant
oldest
and everyone thinks
singer.
you're kind of dumb. Like if you're like a big giant hulking human being, everyone thinks you're kind of stupid already. It's the default. So you can have a lot
Yes.
of fun with it if you just kind of play along.
Yeah, I'm not even as big as you, and that's totally what I do.
Yep.
I mean, y'all are
They think you're
barely
stupid and
taller
you're
than
not.
y'all are
Yeah.
barely taller than me. I mean, let's talk.
That's right.
I'm 5'8".
Well, now that we
Don't
got that
judge
out of
me.
the way, let's dig right into the topic at hand. The globalist American empire is eternal, correct?
9. I don't think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Why?
Well, globalism itself is a type of cartel, right? It's metastable, right? So a cartel functions because everyone gets together and everyone pinky promises to, not take advantage of any of the other cartel members, and everyone plays along. And in globalism, that subs in for, let's say, national interest. So everybody agrees that we're just going to, push national interest aside, and the only thing that matters is members of this cartel and their benefit. So when somebody starts doing nationalism, like in this case, the Chinese, the cartel kind of unwinds because you've kind of broken the pact. And what's interesting about our present moment is that everyone is breaking the pact all at once.
Well,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what, like, in terms of breaking the pact all at once, within that framing, right? That the unspoken rule that all right, American hegemony is over everything. We have this global system, and yeah, their pinky promise and so forth is now being voided altogether. Preference cascade is happening. Right? How would you situate like the Russo-Ukrainian war in that context? Right. Is it two nationalisms fighting, or
No.
globalism
It's
trying to hang on?
well. So when I say when I say nationalism, I guess you call it like hyper nationalism or like superpower nationalism.
Yeah.
Okay.
The meta.
Yes, exactly. The European Union is fighting Russia and trying to get the US to fight Russia because the European Union knows when America takes a step back, when this cartel kind of unwinds, they will end up in the sphere of influence of Russia. And they don't want that. They want it the other way around.
Yeah.
Well,
So everyone's kind of scrambling for the game board. Go ahead, Ron.
Well, I was just saying they've consciously and intentionally removed their ability to fight back against any. It's inexorable. So they have from taking their ability to generate enough power to grow enough food, to have enough industrial capacity, to introducing tremendous amounts of non-native stock. All these things have basically destroyed their immune system. There is no independent Europe. It would have to be in one sphere of influence or another. They don't have the capacity to defend, produce, have their own culture to defend itself. It's all it's become very very fake. And I wanted to jump back real quick and add for some of the your viewers. I know I'm the old guy, right? But what really the two part system that really set this up post World War II was Bretton Woods and the Marshall Plan. And it was an ability for the United States to use this reserve. FDR, everybody blames Nixon, but it was FDR that took the U.S. off the gold standard, and using this new reserve currency that is now not tied to an ounce of gold, but is able to be levered beyond belief, use that as a platform to reflate both Europe and let's call it the non-communist Pacific Rim. And that was, but chiefly Europe was the driving force of it. And China entering into the global trade system, not just being a trading partner, not just being most favored nation status with us, but really entering into the global trading system is what broke this. And then you have, Stormy and I have talked about this. I'd love to hear his thoughts on the euro dollar problem and all so forth. But if you can just think about the Marshall Plan and Bretton Woods as this currency, as this system that really allowed the United States, its greatest export, more so than cars or entertainment or anything, is the dollar financialization system itself. And that's how it, more so than aircraft carriers or ICBMs, that's how it projected power. Okay, go ahead, Stormy. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you were talking about the climate, the deindustrialization of Europe, and how it's destroyed its ability to fight, and also removed any of the impetus in its young men to bear arms in its defense, which is actually really important, it turns out, as the American military is finding out now. What the deindustrialization, the tearing apart of its energy infrastructure, was the same thing that was happening in the United States, and supposed to be the same thing that was happening in China, supposed to be. But it wasn't. Everyone was kind of turning a blind eye to China lying. Surprised, I'm sure, as you all are, that China would be dishonest with us. I know I am, that's for sure. What these things are is austerity. And I'm sure as soon as I say that, Ron will probably have like a little light bulb go off, immediately know where I'm going with this. If you have, so let's say the dollar reserve currency system is not the dollar reserve currency system. There's a lot of words like petrodollar and all these things like that. They just obfuscate. So when Ron said that this is kind of a hangover from the Marshall Plan, it really is. So something special happened post World War II and in the US. So the US did something that no other nation in the history of the world has ever done, which is do war bigly and have no economic calamity afterwards. There's been no other power from Napoleon's France to King Tut. It doesn't matter. You do war, you get inflation, because you have to produce goods at scale to go to war. And when the war is over, that production becomes an economic hangover, right? You now have all these things tooled up that you no longer need. It takes time to switch those into making useful things, and that costs money, whether it's, you know, bars of gold or sacks of grain, whatever it is. So not only did the US do war and not have inflation, deflation, or economic stagnation, it had a golden age. And not a golden age in comparison to America's actual golden age, which was, you know, from a different set of economic policies. But we had a period of 20 years with just crazy economic growth. And we did war bigger than anyone has ever done war in the history of war. And we had nothing but good times afterwards, unheard of. How we did that is by basically, at the end of the war, everyone was kind of knocked on their butts. I'm trying really hard, Mr. Iskra. Anyways, everyone was kind of knocked down and we had no one to play catch with. So we built everybody up. So we have somebody to play catch with. People that we can give all of this economic production to, we can sell to, but also to defeat communism. Because, you know, when World War II ended, half of Europe was communist. And the communists would have liked all of Europe and really all of the planet as a revolutionary ideology to become communist. And we didn't really like that idea. And what communism needs is a bombed out hellhole. If you have no hope for advancement, if you are removed from any possibility of economic prosperity, you're a communist revolutionary's, you know, wet dream. You can't think of a better environment. So we basically had to build these places up. Oh, yes, it is. It sounds very familiar.
Well, there's nothing better than utter destruction to enforce radical egalitarianism.
100%.
Yeah.
You have to have nothing to want everybody to have everything. So we built all these countries up. How do we do that? Did we give them gold? No, we did not. Did we give them money? No, we did not. We gave them the ability to borrow money in dollars. And it doesn't sound like much, but like, let's say you live in a country that is currently a bombed out hellscape, like Bangladesh, let's say. You are a citizen of the Bangladeshi nation. You poor unfortunate soul. The cost of capital to you in Bangladesh represents the likelihood that you will default on that capital, right? So, i.e., like very high. You're kind of a risky person to lend to. So if you were to go to a bank and get a loan, the interest rate would probably be something like 15-20%. And it would be non-usurious. That would be an actual reflection of the risk involved in lending a Bangladeshi money. As we can see by anybody who's lent the nation next door, India, any money, they will know what I'm talking about. So the interest rate in America is not 20%. So by giving the nations of the world the ability to borrow dollars, we gave them the ability to not only borrow a strong currency, but to borrow at an interest rate that they did not deserve. Which was great for a while. It was the wind beneath the wings of globalism. Globalism is not these nations building themselves up. It is the extraction of wealth through interest rate arbitrage of the United States of America. China didn't lift 500 million people out of poverty. We did.
Yeah.
India didn't become a mega economy. We made it a mega economy. All of this is exported prosperity through, as I'm sure Ron can explain at length, interest rate arbitrage. Happens all the time.
It's called financial repression.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that in a minute. It's one of my absolute favorite topics.
So the problem is everybody borrows a lot of money. But why don't you lend a bunch of money to Bangladeshis? Because it'll probably, not get paid back, right?
That's right.
All right.
Well, the same reason that in classical democracy, you don't let them vote.
Yeah. So what happens if the rest of the world has been borrowing money at infinitum. And now all of a sudden has no ability to pay it back because they borrowed in a currency that wasn't their own.
That's right.
Right. So if the interest rate in the US is lower than yours, good news for you, because your currency's stronger and it takes less of your Bangladeshi bucks to swap for $1. And the amount of dollars you have to pay every month on your payment is low. But the second the US starts raising rates, well, now you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Not only is your currency worth less now, and you can actually watch this. This is not really a theory. Every time the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates over the last 5 years, just watch just pick a country at random and pull up a 5-year chart of its currency and tell me what happens. You'll watch it take a big old leg down each and every time.
Mm-hmm.
So your Bangladeshi bucks are now worth less. So it costs more Bangladeshi bucks to swap for $1.
Yep.
And the amount of dollars you owe every month, because the interest rate on that loan just went up, you owe more dollars. So what was once the wind beneath your little Bangladeshi wings is now a millstone around your neck.
Yeah.
And every single nation, save America, is going through this right now, except for China, but that's its own ball of wax.
Well, because they actually produce. But keep
yes,
going.
Exactly. So
yeah.
This is what's breaking apart. So it's not that the cartel just all of a sudden decided to stab each other in the back. Everyone knows that a bomb is going to go off, and now everyone is in it for themselves because there has been risk introduced into this equation.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was a lot.
No, that's
so what's
awesome.
what's the bomb going off? Is it just that the economic and monetary situation in the United States? Like that's
I don't
the
know,
bomb
Ron,
going off?
how much is there globally in uncollateralized like derivatives?
300. I mean, it's a number that you wouldn't believe. More than global total since the creation of currency GDP.
Yeah, it's something like 300 trillion.
It's 300 trillion is the oft quoted number, which is greater. Yeah. It's even greater than our future, the U.S.'s unfunded future liabilities, which is also a mammoth number. I want to go back real quick to this idea of financial repression, because I think it explains a lot. And if you get the theory, it makes all this make sense, because it works in macroeconomics, in microeconomics, in national macro, and then in global macro. So the idea is, if you can suppress the effective interest rate in any quasi-closed system, then the idea is that you're going to increase the velocity of dollars changing hands. Okay, so this is part and parcel of modern monetary theory, which is straight voodoo, but be that as it may, it's what most, we all became Keynesians. Well, everybody believes in this stuff. So if you increase the velocity, that's the idea. So you keep interest rates at a higher rate than they would be if the market just determined what interest rates were, which is a demand for a fixed amount of currency, right? Okay. So in doing this, what you do is, if you subdue interest rates, who gets paid normally interest rates in a macro sense? It's savers. Okay. So part of the boomer problem that we all have, and it's a real problem, is we created it due to this financial repression of keeping for a long period of time interest rates in the United States way below what they would be in a market economy. Therefore, we destroyed the incentive to save. You take savers and you turn them into investors. You turn investors into traders, and you turn traders into speculators. And so you move everyone up the risk ladder, but you don't move the return up the risk ladder. And what does that create? That creates, what do you call somebody who takes undue risk for a low return?
An
we would
idiot.
call them a degenerate, you know. I
Yeah.
mean,
Mhm.
ultimately, you destroy the implicit morality of a stable currency. And so if you do this on a macro, on a global macro level, well, the great thing is, well, you can export inflation, so you get to spend more than you actually make, right? Yay. The problem is you've now done this exact same thing to the entirety of all your trading partners. All these
Yeah.
folks you've tried to prop up, you've turned into, in a monetary sense, global degenerates.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of the theory cell stuff below
You can
what
see this
Stormy's
most in
talking
the
about.
Hong Kong real estate market.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Tell people a little bit about the history of that, Stormy, because it's fascinating.
All right, so I have some friends in Hong Kong that have done quite well in real estate, and they one of them runs a very large real estate development slash real estate investment company, and you know, with a with like private equity or like a VC, you basically have separate funds for batches of investments, where hedge funds can kind of, you know, go perpetually. So each one of his funds are called Bunker 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and so on, which is kind of like an inside joke because the Hong Kong real estate market, to Ron's point, is so speculative that it has 40 to 50% swings in price every couple years. So you could have $1 million apartment one day and literally in a matter of weeks not be able to get, you know, 300,000 for it. So it's like an eternal game of Jenga, building up and smashing it down because they're not. This is happening in the U.S., which is grotesque, where houses are not looked at as places that you buy to hold for your life, to raise your family in. Like, it is not an intergenerational possession. It is a speculative asset for you to bet on, like a stock. And once you do that, once you insert this degenerate view of asset and asset husbandry, because everybody has kind of a twisted view of what assets are. And I think this is nationally, we think that assets are like stocks. We can just buy them and they're things that go up in value. We don't have to do anything. And that's not really the case. How traditionally assets have been viewed is something that you husband, that you take care of and grow, right? Much like livestock, right? The lord and the manor, like keeping that manor up was a full-time job for many, many, many people. And if it didn't happen for even 1 year, the whole place would fall apart. It was an asset granted you a privilege. That privilege would be the income generated, but there is no privilege conveyed without duty.
Yeah.
Right? You owe. And we've removed that. And once you remove that, it becomes speculation.
Yeah.
This is Hoppe's argument. This is Hoppe's monarchical argument in Democracy, the God That Failed. This exact argument you're talking about an estate, and just have that writ large for the entire country. Who is the lord of the manor? Who is enforcing the duty for the upkeep? And I find it super compelling, but you know.
Well, I have to talk to a lot of very wealthy people, you know, kind of professionally, now that I'm not very professionally active, more socially. And we have an entirely different class of, we'll call it ultra high net worth or very high net worth. They have the most, you would think that they'd be very smart people. They are in hyper specific areas, but not broadly. And most importantly, not about wealth itself. Like, I can talk to somebody with $1 billion, several $1 billion, and I'll talk to, they have no conception of what happens to this money that they have accumulated after they die. Like, and what if you talk to a very wealthy person about their responsibilities and duties they have for having that wealth, they will look at you like you are an insane person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I have to tell them, like, I talked to, I know one gentleman who's got the wealth of he's entirely self-made. A really interesting story, but there's no way to tell it without, kind of,
Yeah.
doxing him. But it started literally with nothing. Actual, Gentile American dream type stuff. No nepotism, no nothing. And now he has the net worth of a small African or a small nation state or mid-sized African country. And I had this conversation, like, what do you mean I earned it? I put in the work. I don't have any other duties. And I was like, all right. So JP, and we see this now with Timothy Mellon. And what Timothy Mellon is doing is completely foreign and alien. And this is now front page news. This was what every wealthy person in America would have done 100 years ago. Every single one of them. JP Morgan, John Pierpont bailed out the entire country, leveraged every single asset he owned. He would have been homeless if the US had gone bust. Right? And when asked, by the many reporters that found out, like, what the heck are you doing, man? He said, like, I've made what I have by never betting against America.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that I bet everything I have on America. John D. Rockefeller built 3,000 churches, like big ones, with universities and schools attached to them. Like, these were, they're not, the little like strip mall churches. These are big churches. All of them are still standing today. In fact, some of the nice churches in your town, dear listener, I bet were built by John D. Rockefeller. And the reason you have a public library is because of Andrew Carnegie. A public library was unheard of. Nobody thought like, oh, you're just a member of the country, so you get unlimited knowledge. Andrew Carnegie thought that if you were an American citizen, you deserved every bit of knowledge that mankind has ever created in history at your fingertips. And if you wanted to go in and learn something and that wasn't there, tell the lady at the front desk and come back in a week.
Yeah. And Carnegie, like, this is also a self-made man. Like, he came to America from like Scotland, right? And was penniless.
Literally a push boat guy. He literally had a floaty barge that he built himself and pushed it back and forth across the Hudson for people for, pennies, literally. That's Andrew Carnegie.
Yeah. It's I mean, these stories are incredible. And I mean, Stormy, if you when you're talking to these John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie types that don't have the noblesse oblige, and if their conscience is pricked, and you tell them about Rockefeller building all of these churches, and they're like, you know what, I should do that too. I will give you the link for the Whitleyville Reformation Church building fund for them to donate to. But you're right, like wealth, like that kind of class of people that arose in America's actual golden age, the Gilded Age. Many of them self-made or coming from very little. They had a sense in which they understood their place in social and political order as natural aristocrats, and that they had a duty to their people, that it wasn't just solely just their genius and their work ethic and everything that made them. It was also the situation they were placed in, that God had put them in. Is right, here's these conditions. Like, if you put John D. Rockefeller on America, if John D. Rockefeller, like the same person, was born in 1986 and to a working class family today, like, would he have become the world's richest man today? Probably not, right? Maybe, but almost certainly not. Like, the conditions were such that was possible. Like that could actually happen today. Back to the, what's the seedbed for communism, right? That's what exists today. Why does, the unstated thing about like Mamdani getting elected in New York City isn't just that like half of the city is foreign born. It's also that, right, that is just not a place where you can like raise a family and have a good life or anything. Like you're gonna have to work. You're gonna have to get like high six figures just to share a studio apartment with like 5 people, right?
Did you see the voting breakdown as far as the demographic group that went hardest for Mamdani was single women, okay,
Yeah.
and especially younger
80+%.
cohort. Oh, it's
Yeah.
crazy. And my reaction, I was talking to met my wife for lunch today, and I was like, what are they doing in New York City of all places?
Yeah.
What are they doing? But what was it?
Spandrel's IQ shredder reigns supreme.
Unbelievable. Absolutely. So what was it that, what was it? I don't know if it was a light switch, but what was the factor that changed? And I just am convinced it's some macro factor that changed the idea of noblesse oblige to the idea that wealth.
You're not going to like it.
Well, I know, but I want you to say it. That's why I'm asking the question instead of pontificating. What was this factor that switched it from noblesse oblige to the idea that wealth is how I buy myself out of duty? Stormy, go.
How much do you know about Henry Ford?
Well, enough to get me in trouble.
No,
So that's why you're here.
do you know that Henry Ford was sued by the Dodge brothers?
Yes.
Right.
I
And what
didn't
was
know
he
that.
sued for?
I know. He was sued for paying his workers too much.
Yes, he was sued for paying his workers too much, and he lost.
Yes.
What year is this?
I
30s?
don't know. I can't remember numbers. I can't even remember, like, when they send like your phone, like they send you like a 4-digit PIN that you have to then type in. I have to hold my phone next to the thing because I can't remember 4 numbers for 10 seconds. So you're getting lost on dates, man.
Authentication is your kryptonite.
Oh yeah, I fail my own 2FA all the time. But the reason I bring up Henry Ford to answer your question is because Henry Ford refused to take his company public.
Yeah.
And he was like literally at this point less than a year away from dying. He finally stepped down and passed it off to his son. Within 2 months, the son, he's still a young guy, was kind of like corralled and cornered by bankers and accountants and browbeaten to take the company public. Henry Ford, now with like 8 months left on the clock, comes back out of retirement and takes over the company again, fires everyone, and basically tries to unwind the IPO. Was successful, but as soon as he died, the Ford Motor Company went public. And a funny thing happens when a company goes public. Like Henry Ford cared about Ford Motor Car. Ford Motor Car was a reflection of Henry Ford. If Ford Motor Car sucked, Henry Ford sucked. It made him look bad, personally.
Yeah.
John Pierpont Morgan, the exact same thing. Right? Like they cared about their companies because it was a direct reflection of them, the person, the man. And the second you make a company publicly traded, except in rare instances, like with Elon Musk and I believe Mark Zuckerberg too, where they own so much of their own shares, they're impossible to get rid of, and it is impossible to run the company in any other way than they see fit. But these are the rare standout exceptions.
Very rare. Yeah.
Right. Even the only people that get to be tycoons is really those two people, because it's actually still their company. Every other company in the world that's publicly traded, there's no one in that company that, I mean, from the CEO all the way on down, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Right. And Ron, you'll probably know where I'm going with this. Like this is, you can see what Trump is trying to do by getting rid of quarterly earnings. Everyone is like, oh, well, he just wants to just goose the stock market. No. Quarterly earnings create a very parasitic game theory, right? So if I'm a CEO, A, it's not my company, right? And B, I'm just here, with my golden parachute. And if I do a bad job, I get a couple, $10 million, $20 million payout, and then I'm on to the next company to be CEO. CEO is a class of people now.
Yes.
Right? They just move from company to company to company. They're like clones. They're literally algorithms in suits.
Fortune 100 board member class is a very similar thing at just a lower rung.
Yep.
Yeah.
All they are is owner. They're not the shareholders themselves, right? They're just lawyers and accountants that represent the shareholders, right? Public markets, and I know like the idea of unwinding this problem is basically impossible.
Yeah.
But public markets put a distance between men and their money, right? Like Ron, myself, I own thousands and thousands of shares of stock in hundreds and hundreds of companies, public traded, privately traded, doesn't matter. If you were to ask me, like, hey, Stormy, company XYZ is doing really unfair business practices and is basically being immoral or doing something illegal, my answer to you is gonna be like, I don't care, and I have no idea of even which one you're talking about. Like, they're all just numbers, man. I swap them in and out second by second. This company doesn't matter, because in 10 seconds later, I'm going to be out of that stock and I'm going to be a shareholder in this other company. And then 10 seconds later after that, I can do it again, right? Nobody actually cares. There's no attachment. So the CEO operates on this game theory, right? Like, okay, I have to report quarterly earnings. Do I A, invest a bunch of money in research and development, creating something new, or building a new facility, right? Increasing my production? Or do I just buy my stock back with the cash balance, the cash on hand that my corporation has, right? One will make the stock price go up now, which is buying the stock back. And the other two will cost a ton of money and will probably take 5 to 10 years before we know that we either A, made a good decision and this investment pays off, or we made a bad decision and the investment doesn't pay off. Guess which one every CEO in the world is going to take, because if he doesn't take it, he's fired.
That's right.
Okay.
So you're forcing these, think about this with immorality, right? Or straight up criminality. If I am acting criminally and I am hurting people, Ron, the CEO of a competitive company, has two choices. He can either A, be just as criminal as me, or he can be fired in 120 days.
Yep.
Maybe he can survive one bad quarterly earnings print, but he won't get two.
Yeah. So this all actually relates to the, I remember the Ford versus Dodge Brothers case, because it's the foundation for the duty of a corporation is to its shareholders, not to the public good. It was the decision that kind of ratified that. And it was Michigan Supreme Court case, not a federal case. But anyway,
that's actually pretty good, because if you do that at the federal, if you, let's say if you brought a case up, so like the Civil Rights Act, things like that, all of these things were basically preloaded court decisions, right? Yeah. So they already knew that they were going to, it's a way of legislating things that you could never get legislated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my plaintiff already, and I'm going to create the situation to then sue on to then bring it all the way up to the Supreme Court to get a ruling in my favor on this situation that I built in my own favor. And now that ruling, that court ruling, is viewed as law. So
right.
since it's in the Michigan State Court, I mean, people would have the ability, not that anybody would probably want to, but you could probably game a situation out on a federal level to basically get a federal court to rule in the opposite direction, and then through the supremacy clause, it would overrule that Michigan State ruling.
That's right. Well, the issue I've seen, I talked with, I don't know, y'all know Cryptos online. Cryptos is a friend, and we did a pod. He's great. Where I talked about it is capitalism itself. Again, people stick with me here. Capitalism is a Marxist framing. What we believe traditionally as rightists, as Westerners, as people who come in the Christian tradition, we believe in equal scales. Okay, so you don't cheat somebody, and we believe in an arm's length transaction where both people say thank you, and we believe in freedom of price discovery. The capitalism as a means to subvert the will of the king to bless his people by moving capital across borders freely that's not a Christian ideal. And to increase those returns through the means of exorbitant leverage, or what we used to call in the old days usury. Those are not Christian ideals. But what also happened was the creation of the share. Okay, so what the share did is it allowed Andrew. I'm going to get on a boat and I'm going to sail to. I think there's an island out in the Pacific that has tons and tons of this raw material, and I'm going to go sail there and get it and bring it back. And I'm like, Andrew, will you invest to help me buy the boat to go over there? And he's like, well, how are you going to do this? Well, I got to take, 50 sailors with me. It's this big boat. And he goes, well, how do you know that it's not dangerous? I don't. Well, these guys might get killed. You might get sued. And I go, well, I guess. And he goes, I don't want to participate in the risk of you getting sued if all these guys die or getting, arrested. But I would like to participate in case it's profitable. And therefore, the creation of the share happened. And it disconnected ownership from risk. Now, in modern finance, it's okay to do that via a type of insurance contract we call the option or the put or the call. But that is it has a limited time frame to it. So I think a large part of this issue with the difference between Western investment and modern financial capitalism is this disconnection between ownership and risk, or ownership and liability. And
ownership and duty.
That's exactly where I'm going. And if you want to, and the ethical way to separate those things is by creating a time limit or an option, rather than, because an option is always depreciating in value as that time wears off. And so you have a disincentive to you can't make long-term equity. I mean, you can synthetically, but that's not the point of what I'm talking about. So this idea of separating duty, of separating liability and ownership has been incredibly, that plus what we were talking about earlier with financial repression is a large portion of why you see what you see today, where there's no connection to the people, there's no connection to risk, there's no connection to liability, there's no connection to this old school understanding of noblesse oblige, because we've contracted it all away. And Marx, and look, not a Marxist whatsoever, but he wasn't dumb.
If you're a modern day conservative, you are.
Thank you. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You are
Yes.
you are in essence a modern Marxist. You have bought into all those assumptions.
Yeah.
Thank
Tell
you,
me more
sir.
about your free market capitalism. You know what that's called? It's called globalism.
Mhm.
That's right.
I
That's right.
let
It's
conservatives
Trotsky.
tell me
It's
the
even
virtues of the free market capitalism and then the evils of globalism in the same sentence out of the same person's mouth.
That's right. It's very Trotskyite, and it's why neoconservatives are always globalist. You
Mhm.
can't separate the two.
If they actually
right.
read Marx, they would say that globalization and free market capitalism are both necessary to bring about communism
But bring about the
because
ultimate revolution.
it stretches the difference between the haves and the have-nots to the
That's right.
extremes.
Yeah,
That's
to
right.
the point of breaking.
Yep.
That's
Well,
exactly right.
on the
And dissolves national
topic.
identity.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, let's save that for the national identity for a second, because we do have to take a break and do an ad break here. And speaking of noblesse oblige, the ad is regarding retirement and inheritance. So if you guys need to use the restroom or grab another cup of coffee, you'll have a full minute. But everybody else has to. You're required to listen to the ad.
This is Dave. Dave is dead. When he wasn't, he was a successful businessman with a rather large estate. This is Ben. As Dave's son, Ben has just inherited a logistical nightmare. Dave wasn't exactly organized with his estate. Sorting through folders, receipts, and records, a hunting lodge in Montana, a 401k, lots of investments, several bank accounts, and of course, taxes. Ben was overwhelmed. Enter Joe Garrissey of Backwards Planning Financial. When Ben called Joe and explained everything, Joe replied,
"No problem. That's easy."
and somehow it was. With Joe's guidance, Ben was able to put a robust financial plan in place which helped mitigate risk and bring order to the chaos, while building wealth, organizing his estate, easing the tax burdens, and cutting unnecessary costs. He helped Ben do something Dave never did: plan ahead. Starting at the end and working backwards, Ben now has a plan for his own family. Now his kids won't go through what he did when he eventually... Backwards Planning Financial. Start planning for your death before you're gone.
Oh, you took Ron out. What are we doing? Oh, and now we lost him. Oh, he's still not back. All right. Well, it's just me here.
He hates ads.
Apparently. No, I'm sure he went to get more coffee. All right, we could do some of the while he's gone. We can go to some of the comments. Why don't you here scroll up? There was a comment or a question for Stormy, way up there. Keep going. This is a great radio. Let's go.
Is this on the radio or is it like a live stream?
It's a live stream.
Radio's dead.
It's totally dead. Which is
Poor
which
Mark
is also
Levin.
like hilarious because you have like all of these conservative radio hosts that like nobody listens to anymore, and they're all freaking out right now. And it's like I'm pretty sure like our audience when it's all said and done for each podcast is probably as big as many of theirs, and we're like lobies. We're not huge. It really just is a sinecure and a paycheck for many of these guys.
Without a doubt.
It's totally gone. And that's part of what the whole fight is over, right? Making sure you're doing the bidding of the paymaster, the people that are paying, writing your checks. And because like what a coincidence, only a guy who's totally independent and free is able to even broach these topics. Right. And nobody else that, talks for a living and has opinions for a living, is able to talk about this stuff. Isn't it interesting?
I noticed
weird.
that. Like, let's put it this way: if I worked for somebody else, there was no way you'd be hearing my voice. If I didn't have at least enough tucked away to where if they wanted to, ruin my life and make me unemployable again, I would be okay with my standard of living left over. I wouldn't be here. So it really is a type of freedom to say the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
totally.
me. And by the way,
Yeah.
you said run to the restroom if you wanted to. I'm 58. 1 minute. It's not enough.
All right, we need more advertisers. Apparently, we need more ads.
Yeah.
You guys heard it here first. Just if you want Ron, we need at least 5 minutes of ad breaks
Or make me
every 20 minutes.
20 years. Make me 20 years younger again. Golly, that'd be awesome.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing
I
I
earned this
wanted
gray
to talk
hair.
about. That's right. You
Oh,
earned
I'm
it.
starting to get gray hair. Apparently, the ladies like it. So
That's what my wife tells me when I don't shave, and you can see the little gray chin hairs here. She's like, "Oh, maybe she just doesn't like the mustache, and she wants me to have a beard." And that's, it's not gonna happen. But
I got in trouble for doing a
she loves
haircut,
it.
doing an unsolicited haircut recently.
Did you?
Yeah,
What?
it's just the same haircut I've always had, but she liked it long.
Stormy's been longhoused.
I'm trying not to
I have been
doxy
longhouse.
type. I'm trying to not reveal doxy material, so I had to stop myself there.
Yeah, careful, Ron. But yeah, I mean, the
Soon we'll all be face friends. I think Astral said to me once, it is one of the wisest things I think he said in a while. He goes, if you're an anon, you have to be okay. If you're anonymous, you have to be okay with your ideas being stolen and propagated and dumbed down. That's the deal that you made.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're going to win. And then as you win, the necessity for you to be anon goes away.
Yeah.
And as you'll know we're winning when we can show our faces. And I think, young Jay Burden is a great example of that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Man. Love that.
That's a very promising young man.
Yeah, that's the point though, is like, and you see this with like different anons, and I love the anons. They're great. But they'll get mad. I don't steal memes. I don't steal takes or anything like that. At least like 1-to-1, right? I don't just copy and paste and post somebody else's meme or something. There's a lot of people that do that. But on the flip side of that though, is like, you are in the gulag, right? You're passing around samizdat, right? If you're Alexander Solzhenitsyn, are you going to be mad if somebody copies your samizdat and like it gets it out there and doesn't give you credit for it? Like, are you really going to care? Right? Like, of course.
We're in a war of ideas.
Yeah,
No, but what he did need to care about was having an editor. Good night.
It's like
I love the dude, but
that's just Russian, man. That's the way they are.
if you're on the right, the idea of you having any original ideas is kind of very silly on its face. Our ideas are thousands of years old.
Yeah.
Yes,
basically
that's
a
exactly right,
traditionalist.
Stormy. So the idea that right and left were some kind of creation of a nice little push into the end of the market here, Stormy.
Oh God.
So,
These are the kind of guys I brought on.
I just heard the bell. Yeah, we just closed. So anyway, 3 o'clock. This idea that left and right are creations in the French Parliament makes me crazy. That people who don't see this as an eternal struggle between order and chaos, between for me even is, and I know there are folks who disagree with this, but at least the manifestations of transcendence versus materialist, beauty versus degradation, and these are not new things. These are not post-Enlightenment struggles. These are from the dawn of humanity. And if you don't see that, then I think you're trying to hide something else. There's some part of the ball you're trying to obscure, and it drives me nuts.
But really, the whole right and left dynamic is fake.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't anchor any of these political ideas in a people, like a specific people, they don't mean anything. Right. Like I am left wing for my people. I am right wing for your people. I am socialist for my people. I am free market capitalist for your people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a radical way to frame it. But like, that's ultimately what it is. It's like, it's whom it's, it is friend versus enemy. It is in-group versus out-group. Like that is how humanity always is.
Ask one of these politicians, any of them, what does an American look like? And watch them make a freaking fool of themselves. I can go to any country in the entire world. I can go to China and be like, hey, Ching Chong, what does an American look like? And he'll tell me. He'll be like, an American looks like you.
Man. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So everyone in the entire world can tell you what an American looks like, except for every single member of the GOP.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. It is incredible. Like everybody, I mean, that's like the Sam Hyde clip, you know, it's like, don't even argue with these people about what an American is. Like everybody knows it. It's you're playing in their territory if you even.
So why is everyone in the GOP lying?
Yeah. Good question. That's a good question. That leads to our next topic: the Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes debate or interview fallout. Why? Right? Why are they lying about that? And I think the two questions are related. That over the last 60, 70, 80 years, there has been a conscious, collective effort by the powers that be in America to strip the American people of their historical memory, their historical identity, their traditions, their way of life, and to make it into this globally homogenous soup, right? That you're both simultaneously nothing and everything. You're a citizen of nowhere and everywhere. That you're not a distinct people. You're not that you are, and that therefore anybody on planet Earth can come and be airdropped into your thing, and instantaneously they are just as American as you. Like
how come nobody's airdropping them in China? How come no one's airdropping South Americans into India? How come no one's airdropping Africans into the Middle East? How come it's just only a certain subset of countries?
But
only America and Western Europe. Interesting.
Strange that.
No, here's why. Because our version of our hyper fungibility of, and Nick Land talks about this, and I don't, Nick is a whole topic in and of himself. I find him profoundly interesting and scary and all the other stuff. But the assumption is here and nowhere else that humanity is fungible. Yeah. And what does fungible mean? Fungibility is the way you describe the transactability of a commodity. Okay. Yeah. So the ultimate presumption of cosmopolitanism, which is the real
rootless cosmopolitanism, if you will.
What's that?
Rootless cosmopolitanism, if you will.
Well, yeah, but is that Stormy and Andrew and Ron, not just we are fungible, and we're not even. We're all waspy kind of guys, but we have different upbringings and heritage, in the sense of where we grew up and our experience and everything. But imagine assuming all the different peoples of the world are fungible. And it comes from a bastardized version of Christianity that says because of the fall, everybody is guilty. Everybody is exactly the same, and that's just wrong. Yeah. And even the Bible, I'm a devout Christian. The Bible doesn't say that. That wasn't the assumption of the West. It's not the assumption. It's sure not the assumption of the classics.
It's Babel.
Politics. It's what?
It is.
It's Babel.
Babel.
It is. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I mean, that's the thing. Like the three of
Why
us.
Why make these different nations if you're going to unmake them? Are you God?
So Stormy, if it's Babel, which I think is incredibly perceptive, when in Christian theology, Babel was reversed at this feast of it was called Pentecost, and it was where everybody, if you remember the story, it's where all the speaking in tongues happened. But what's funny is God didn't erase all the languages. He gave them the ability to miraculously speak or hear, depending on who you talk to, in their own language. All the separate ethne, all the separate the glossolalia, the languages, all the different ethne, all the different genos, that's people groups and races, they all stayed as separate people groups. So
Ron,
again, this
Ron,
Christian idea that everyone is just a soup that is not, anybody who is taking Christianity to say that is just wrong.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts. And I'm somebody, I mean, I get along with everybody. I just, but this idea of human fungibility destroys.
But you shouldn't have to.
Well, I know, but that's where we are. And I'm always trying to, what is the, I'm a finance guy. I'm a statistical, I'm one of those nerdy statistical arbitrage guys, right? So how can I make sense out of this in a nerdy, statistical way? And anyway, I probably put everybody to sleep now. Maybe you two guys should talk some more.
No, Ron, like I think you're right. Like I saw a post on X by the former president of the Southern Baptist Convention, Bart Barber, and just talking, and these guys do this all the time. They're like, no, all of these right wing guys or whatever, groypers or whoever, that's the catch-all term for, unfortunately now, I guess, for anyone to the right of Mitt Romney. But all these guys, they hate multiculturalism, but heaven is multicultural. And then they quote Revelation, and you look at the verse, like it drives me nuts when they do this, because how is humanity assembled in heaven described? Right? How are they ordered? How did they present themselves? As peoples, tribes, tongues, and nations.
Yeah, and even in the eschaton, which is,
they exist.
A nerdy. Well, you have the trees on either side of the are given for the blessing of the nations, and that's post.
Look at Job. Job says, "I will see my Creator with mine own eyes."
Yeah,
right? He will be resurrected as himself.
Yes. That's exactly right. And
not a generic human being.
And everybody, this idea that heaven is the final destination, the what we're all looking forward to, at least from a
not for a lot of them,
is the resurrection. There's a reason we bury people, and like a seed. So anyway.
You're absolutely right there, Ron. Like the idea, and it takes, like, it's planted in your head, the tabula rasa idea when you're like a very small child, that everybody is all the same, everyone has equal potential, like this fundamental egalitarianism. And it's like you said, like the three of us are not fungible. Right? Even though there's a lot of similarities between each of us, we're interested in all the same thing, many of the same things, and have similar, somewhat similar backgrounds and so forth. Right? The three of us would not be fungible on a football team, right? Like we would, Ron, if we were all the same age, if we were all 22 years old, like you would be a cornerback, and I would be a defensive tackle, and Stormy would be a tight end. Like, and we would
I was very fat at 20.
Okay, you'd be a left tackle then. Okay, but we would not be. We're not even the same there, much less in like every conceivable way. And humanity is not that way. We are not. Like, I remember being in like kindergarten and being told by my kindergarten teacher, like, every single one of you could become the president of the United States. And even there, at 5 years old, I'm thinking like, no, I'm not.
No, I don't think AIPAC would let me do that.
That's right. like my dad's a truck driver. I'm not going to be president of the United States. Like, I knew that at 5.
Yeah.
Like it's just absurd. And and I'm not, and like all these other kids aren't either. Like none of us are going to be like, we're in this tiny podunk little town. That ain't happening. But
I like
it's
Greg
like,
Abbott in his Diwali outfit. Whatever part of
Did you have to-
multiculturalism that makes
did
that
you
man
have-
beclown himself, I think we should keep it.
Yeah,
Stormy,
that's
Did
right.
you have to bring up Greg? I was having a pretty good afternoon, and then you
Yeah.
bring up Greg Abbott.
Wheels.
Or
My
Sarah
man
Huckabee
Wheels.
Sanders. Like she had some nice Diwali pictures as well, you know, in her sari and everything. It was so beautiful.
Hey man, that man can really stand and deliver a speech.
It's so depressing though. Like the
You
Indian
don't want to
thing,
walk a mile in his shoes.
They're probably in pretty good condition.
those are the extent of my wheelchair
You
jokes.
suck,
I don't know
you sucked
anymore.
me into that one. You just
Yeah,
you're like, oh
you
look, I'm
guys-
going to draw Ron in. I'm gonna
So when
watch.
are you
guys
when are you
are
gonna
very
leave Texas?
Yeah, I'm not gonna make fun of the disabled. You're trying to make me do that. But
No. He is trying to make me make fun of the disabled,
That's
dressing like a clown.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's fair.
Or Vivek Ramaswamy telling me what the founding fathers mean, or the founding fathers
Yeah.
meant by this. Our founding fathers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, get out of here with that. Yeah, come on.
My
Yeah.
history is
I mean-
not a Halloween costume for you.
Yeah, the Christmas Day thing, man. I'm still not over that. I don't think I ever will be over that. Like, I'm ready to move to Ohio just to vote against him in both the primary and the general election. Like that would be the first. If I lived in Ohio,
Do you know how
I
he made his
literally
money?
do not care. I do not care what the Democrat would do, like how evil the Democrat is, because like I guess it's just she, totally evil. I don't even know what she believes in. Doesn't matter. Like he cannot be the governor of Ohio. I'm so sick of that guy. Being the Christmas Day thing, being told, oh well, the reason why we Indians are successful and you stupid white people are failures is because you spent all your time watching Boy Meets World and Saved by the Bell while we were studying. And it's like, get out of my country.
Oh, so I guess they weren't your founding fathers after all.
Yeah, exactly. Or even like Dinesh D'Souza, 40 years of telling conservatives that identity politics is bad. And then one guy makes fun of an Indian YouTube streamer about the poop throwing festival. And he the mask comes off and actually you are an ethno-narcissist and you're saying the poop throwers are going to take over the world. Right?
Yeah, this is what conservative people need to realize, is that all of this was given to you in bad faith.
Yes.
These men knew that they were lying from the very beginning. It was just imperative for you to believe them, to let them into your house, right?
Yeah.
Like the vampire isn't a super strong guy that can kick down your door. He
you got to let him in.
has to be let in. He's not going to tell you what he's going to do to you when he gets inside, is he? No.
It's so disgusting.
You're commanded to be wise as serpents. What are you doing?
Yeah, being as wise as doves is what we have been doing for the last 40 years. And being hectored and bullied into being told that like just caring about like Americans and viewing them as your people and what's best for all of us together is evil, right? Being told that and listening to it, right? No, like I care about Americans.
How come 13% of India's economy is money sent abroad by people? I thought we were all in this together. They're Americans, right?
Yeah.
Are you? How much money are you sending to India?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So,
like 10,000% tax on what are those called?
Trump tried to pass a 5% tax, and within a week he caved. You know what the remittance tax is now?
It's 1%, right?
1%.
Yeah. No.
So
no. So shut it all down.
And the easy way to fix that, I mean, because all the folks were like, well, you can't do that to citizens.
Yes, you
can. Want to move money around, and I'm like,
you totally can.
Well, I'm like, then don't charge it to citizens, and that shows just there's this unwillingness to lean on privileged citizenry, that a citizenry is a people that have duties and privileges.
Yeah, what
And,
have you done for those citizens lately?
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. All you've done is take away. You've disenfranchised them. You've increased their food and living costs exponentially. Don't give me this. Either one of y'all follow Shadow Stats?
Yep.
Yeah, Shadow Stats will black pill you.
Yeah.
As to
Everyone
the
should go to
real-
Shadow Stats. Every time you hear what the inflation number is out of the Trump administration, go to the Shadow Stats and then see how honest they are.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
employment.
And then cross-examine
and
that with going to the grocery store. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's so bad. They don't. And like, so all of this, right, to circle back to the freak out over Tucker, right? All of this is like extremely revealing, because the people freaking out about it are revealing, right, what they actually care about, right? They don't care. They don't care that Charlie Kirk was shot 2 months ago.
They probably did it.
Nothing has been done to deal with at least the ostensible problem of left-wing violence, if it wasn't something else, right? Nothing has been done about that. And in fact, any investigation in it being something else was shut down by the FBI, by Kash Patel. Joe Kent was looking into foreign involvement, right? That gets shut down, right?
Everyone forgets, like, this was on Fox News the day of the shooting, right? Somebody from the Department of Homeland Security on Fox News says that it had signs of foreign intelligence, in there somewhere, I believe was the exact quote.
Yeah. Like, how hard would it be? I mean, this was my argument. I don't know if I made it on here with CJ, but it was like, all right, if you have these Discord servers full of like, violent men who have chopped off their genitals, that are clearly insane, and they're ready to do violence, right? They're roaring and ready to go. Like, how hard would it be for a foreign actor to gain access to one of these Discord chats? And
Who owns Discord?
What's that?
Who owns Discord?
It's a good question. I don't know. Do you know, Ron?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll let the audience.
Somebody like the same group of people that are angry at Tucker that revealed their interest.
Yeah,
right. So
I don't know.
what Andrew is saying is not exactly far-fetched.
No, it would be like, people were speculating that maybe it's Ukraine, maybe whatever. But it's like,
okay,
it could be
guys,
any
did
foreign
Zelensky
government.
make 7 little fireside TikTok videos to tell us how much he didn't do it?
Yeah, that's right. There's some protesteth too much.
I mean,
on,
6
but, like,
times. Don't you have a country to run?
Yeah.
Aren't you in the middle of a war?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
yeah,
top
exactly.
priority for you?
Oh, absolutely. Like, that's the thing. Like, everyone's first instinct was like, okay, another, a certain country did it. Like, a lot of people are predisposed to think that, and immediately jump to that like days after. And I'm like, I don't know. And if you can't, at the very least, hold that as a possibility, right? That is a possibility that could have happened, right? I don't know what to tell you, right? I'm still like, jury's out. I don't know.
You mean the FBI would lie to me?
Yeah, really? That's never happened.
I'm going to trust the guy that just told me the Epstein files aren't real after putting little like binders together and doing a little song and dance in front of the White House about the Epstein files. Like, either you think I have the memory of a goldfish or you think I'm retarded. Neither one of those things makes me want to, continue believing you, Mr. Indian guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Actually,
is,
what pissed me off the most, sorry to interrupt, is me getting yelled at and chastised, right, and browbeaten. Like, my mom is guys on our side, ostensibly right-wing guys, right, that are clued into how politics actually works, is telling me that if I question the official narrative, I am helping the left, and this is our only chance to crush the left. I'm sorry, my enemy isn't the left. The left isn't keeping me out of power. The left isn't keeping my friends out of power. In order to fight the left, you need to get into and have power.
Yeah.
Who is keeping me from power? Oh, that's right. It's conservatives.
Yeah.
It's GOP losers like Dinesh, GOP losers like Mark Levin. These are my actual enemies, right? The left isn't doing anything to me that they just don't do to themselves first. Oh, they're trying to chop your kids' genitals off. Yeah, well, they also just got done chopping off their own kids' genitals. Like, that's just osmosis.
Yeah.
Right? That's entropy.
Yeah.
The left is entropy. Who is actually, colluding?
Yeah, the people gatekeeping
in secret to keep you out of power.
That's right.
Okay. Well, if Ron and I and Andrew just said how all of these supposed conservative policies, from we're all just one big blank slate to free market capitalism being a good thing and so on and so forth, were actually given to us in bad faith to hurt us. Well, who gave us these things?
Yeah. They didn't spontaneously arise.
Yeah, it wasn't
right.
the left that told me the values of free market capitalism. It wasn't the left that shipped all of my industry overseas. It wasn't the left that imported 1 million H-1Bs. Who was it? It is people pretending to care about you and pretend to care about your values. They're conservatives, supposed conservatives, and they're not right-wingers.
No,
right?
No, they're very much not on the right. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, anyone who calls you woke
are actually keeping our guys out of power.
No,
guys like Dinesh.
The conservative, since the foundation of the formation of National Review and all that, have been staunchly anti-right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're a right winger,
anyone on the right,
this stuff. Exactly. Oh yeah. What happened to Sam Francis, Dinesh?
Yeah. He spoke like you do, only about America instead of India, right? That's what happened to him.
Well, look. Everybody considers in rightist circles, everybody considers Russell Kirk kind of normie, but Russell Kirk towards the end of his career flipped and went hard. He was like, oh, and he gave a famous speech December of '88, where he said, "Hey, why do all of you think the capital of the United States is in Tel Aviv?" And
Russell Kirk said this. Yeah,
Russell Kirk said this, and he got immediately canceled.
By
but what conservatives?
Did he just now come to that? Did he just then come to that realization, or has he known it for a while? And only when he's old enough to not care anymore.
If you read his stuff, he was, as a lot of guys who get older, your mental models. I try not to do this, but I know a lot of guys whose mental their mental flexibility just kind of ossifies, and it's like musical taste. It's kind of cemented at some younger age, and not everybody's like that. And I think sometimes it takes kind of a shovel to the head to break you free of that. And for Kirk, it was seeing, I don't know specifically, but I've heard stories that he started seeing guys, basically some real Stalinist, Leninist type of activity from the so-called right in policing, and he was like, "This isn't what is this?"
Yeah. And who's his biggest champion now after his death? It's Max Blumenthal and Candace Owens.
Really?
Max Blumenthal is the reason that most people know about any of we'll call it the people that were pressuring Charlie Kirk up until the moment that he died. And just everyone needs to like, oh, well, that doesn't mean they killed him. Yeah, but what if he wasn't killed? Would they just have stopped?
Yeah.
No, they would have run him into the ground. They would have ran him out of his organization.
Precisely. If he was still alive right now, this whole conversation would not be about Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. It would be about
telling us how Charlie Kirk's an anti-Semite and how Charlie Kirk needs to be destroyed.
They would be trying to destroy TPUSA right now.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they would be doing. Acid Lemon. Yeah, no, like Stormy's not conflating Russell Kirk and Charlie Kirk. They're not. Yeah, they're not related. Just to be clear, they were talking about
that
two
would be
different.
pretty badass.
That's right. But yeah, that's the thing I thought immediately, because like right away with those Telegram chats where he's like, yeah, they're pressuring me with $150 million. I'm gonna have no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause, and that 48 hours he's dead. Right?
Pro-Israel cause. That's another country.
Yeah,
that's another
it's
country.
Like,
it's not America.
It's not my country. It's somebody else's country.
I always
why.
I always tell people, just anytime you hear any of these arguments, just swap out Japanese just for a sanity check.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Japan.
80% of the Biden admin was Chinese.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But
that's one of Daryl's great tweets. Yeah.
Is we have a lot of presuppositional differences with Japan.
Yeah.
Metaphysical kind of things. I mean, but
they still have an honor culture. We don't.
That's right.
Well, don't jump ahead. Stormy's the guy in the back of the class always telling the punchline to the joke. Okay, so
that was me too.
So anyway, we get along with Japan great. We don't have an issue with them. We're not worried about them trying to subvert our foreign policy. I mean, not writ large, but it's insanity. I go back to FARA, Foreign Agent Registration Act, and the fact that there's one group. Well, there's kind of 1.5 groups that get this complete and total pass, and that's the Israelis and some Brits. Yeah. But I repeat myself.
I want to read you something. It's from President Modi of India.
Oh, right? Here we go. This will be good.
And I think everyone needs to know this. Right? Mr. Modi and his BJP, and this is from The Economist, are acutely aware of this. Their election manifesto in 2014 called the diaspora a vast reservoir to articulate the national interests and affairs of India globally. And that would be harnessed for strengthening the brand of India. The next year's General Party Secretary said that the BJP, that's Mr. Modi's political party, saw the diaspora in India as India's voice abroad. Just as, this is a direct quote, the way the Jewish community looks out for Israel's interests in the United States. And many Indians abroad have risen to that task, right? The overseas friends of the BJP in America. So this is friends of an Indian hyper-nationalist party.
Yeah.
In America is over 30,000 people, sending back 2.5, just in 2014, $2.5 million back to people in India, right, to campaign. So the Indians are doing this at scale. There is 30,000 activists for a foreign government.
And this was 10 years ago.
And the ruling party of that foreign government. Yep.
Yeah.
And they saw that they were going to do, in their own words, exactly the way the Jewish community looks out for Israel's interest in the United States.
Stormy.
They were going to turn their diaspora into a political machine, just like Israel's.
Stormy,
dude,
tell
the Somalis have done this in Minneapolis. The same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Stormy, tell everyone, is the BJP a sweet and kind secularized party for India, or is it Hindu nationalist?
I would say it would make Mussolini blush.
Let's compare
the level of and specifically Hindu Indian nationalism.
Let's
which is actually why they think they have such common. Everybody sees the Indians basically being the most ardent Zionists in the world, and are probably very confused by that. Right.
Yeah.
So the BJP, right, is hyper Hindu nationalists, right? So it is not secular. It is a religious, ethno-nationalist government.
Yeah,
and
right.
they have a big problem with the 30% of India's population that is Muslim and not
Yeah.
Hindu. Right? They basically see this percentage of the population as the enemy.
Yeah.
So,
And the Christian population of like 1 or
Yeah.
2%.
Which is
They
in the
hate them
South.
too.
It's a decent percentage in the South.
Yeah.
well,
concentrated in the South.
many great Christian saints went over there to try and convert those heathens to the one true faith, and they chose demon worship instead. And as you can see, the country's really flourished. I mean, every one of you would like to swap out your spot in America or anywhere in the Christian world to go live in India.
What couldn't be
But
fixed with a
basically,
few
because they're
flesh-eating
going
turtles?
after these hyper nationalists, or sorry, because they're going after these Muslim percentage of their population, right? They've incurred a lot of. They're afraid of basically Muslim extremism because, well, you know what? If you persecute 30% of your population, just like if you put 7 million people in an outdoor concentration camp, eventually they try and break out.
Yeah.
And may try and shoot
Go
you.
figure.
Where have I heard of this?
They're really worried about Muslim extremism. So they've teamed up with the Muslim extremism experts, which is the Israeli state.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of the alliance between India and Israel. And there's another alliance, which nobody seems to recognize, which is in India and China.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks President Trump is silly enough to think that he can turn India into America's friend and have them turn away from Russia and turn away from China, and he is fooling himself.
Yeah.
So he is importing all of these Indians. He's importing a foreign lobbying organization.
Yeah.
Right? These people aren't just H-1Bs. The Indian government views this as a strategy. The Indian government is lobbying America to take more H-1Bs and create more H-1B visas. So India can stuff in more BJP political activists in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
These people are not our friends.
No.
And
No, they're a national security
Chinese
threat.
contract them. Exactly. All of the Indians stealing IP, they're not stealing it for India. They're stealing it because the Chinese intelligence agencies paid the Indian intelligence agencies to go do Chinese intelligence work in a way that the Chinese can't get caught.
Yeah.
Same thing with Venezuela.
Yeah, it's called working with a cutout.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's how all good intel ops work is.
So
you
you've
work through
described
a cutout.
Yeah, Stormy, you've described the process for India that President Modi is comparing to the Israeli diaspora, the Jewish diaspora in America, as functioning in the exact same way. And like, what are we seeing with the freak out over Tucker and Nick Fuentes is the exact same thing.
You can have gay marriage and be a conservative. You just can't criticize Israel and be a conservative. Well, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Then what does this mean?
Gender. Yeah,
of course.
You could be Bruce Jenner, turn himself into a woman. That's a conservative because he's pro-Israel, right? You could be Dave Rubin and buy children and be a conservative.
So we don't have a right and left. There is no conservative. There is no Democrat. There is just Democrat and Israel party. This is what they're telling you.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's so what this is ultimately about is you have a figure like Tucker Carlson, who over the last several years, but even when he was on Fox, was still somewhat critical of Israel. And go figure, he loses all of his major corporate advertisers because of that. And was like the highest rated show on Fox News or not just on Fox News, but like all of television every night. Like he's performing better than like NFL games oftentimes, right? And on a nightly
only when
basis,
the Vikings are playing.
Yeah. Well, we can't all be Cowboys fans around. Did we?
I thought was that a Dave Rubin joke?
Yeah. We're going to sports ball now and just totally subverting everything we've been saying. But,
I'm an Arsenal. No, I'm an Arsenal guy. So keep going. Sorry.
Okay. There we go. So yeah. So anyway, and eventually he gets kicked off of Fox News because he doesn't toe the line on the Ukraine war, and begins is just telling the truth about it. And begins his own network, is totally independent, totally free, can say whatever he wants. And over the last few years, he's been very critical of Israel. He had me on there, and part of what we talked about was dispensationalism and eschatology, and how that's not really what Christians believed until the 19th century. And so anyway, he's interested in those kinds of topics, and they really don't like it. They haven't for a long time, but he brings on Nick Fuentes, who is right. And I've said this many times on here before. Like, Nick does not particularly like me, and I've not been a fan of his either. He says, I think, a lot of stupid things, and is really immature, and has been and has done things that I find him to be untrustworthy. Like, he's doxed people, blackmailed people, things like that. Like, his behavior is what I'm more concerned with than like anything ideological, right? And so, but nevertheless, like, Tucker brings him on, and all he's this toxic figure who said very transgressive things, like, on purpose, because right, that's what you do on the internet, is you say things that are just totally outlandish for jokes, and because they're funny, and it rustles people's jimmies and gets them going. And of course, like, older people don't get that. They think that like he literally loves Joseph Stalin or something. But at any rate, Tucker brings him on, and there is a freak out not only over Tucker making the decision to do that, but then also like the Heritage Foundation not distancing itself from Tucker Carlson, the president, giving a speech supporting him, saying you can have on whoever you want. Like, we don't agree with anything Nick Fuentes says, whatever, throw that caveat out there. And that's not enough. Like, you have to completely denounce Tucker, and we're going to fire, the president's main advisor, and put everybody through this struggle session where some young Catholic guy is like, you're doing this, Shabbat dinner, but I don't really feel comfortable going to that. Friday is a fast day, and I can't eat anyway, and I want to observe that, but am I required to go to that for my job? And like, just bizarre stuff like that. And you have like Mark Levin.
Wait, I didn't get to hear this story. I was traveling.
That?
No,
yeah.
Can you guys bring me up to speed?
Yeah. So they had.
Yeah, you go ahead, Ron. You
I was just saying that it was a form of diversity training where they had this Shabbat dinner. That,
for their
it's kind of like when you had to go and be nice to gay people or something. I don't know, and so they had the Shabbat dinner, and this earnest Catholic guy says, "I'm going to do this on Friday. That's our Catholic. We abstain from eating meat, and all this stuff. I don't feel comfortable doing that." And it's just very,
so wait, this was mandatory?
Yeah, it's a very struggle session. Just very
okay. It's not clear if it was mandatory, but like the video of the struggle session, the HR meeting basically that they had, got leaked and was used as like, and that part of it where the young kid gave his earnest objection to going, that was used as evidence that there is deep-seated anti-Semitism at the Heritage Foundation because this Catholic kid didn't want to go to Shabbat.
So I can't wait to make Mark Levin come to mass with me.
That's right.
Or else he's a bigot.
Yeah.
No, I will say this. He's been the biggest bigot in America. This whole thing has revealed his nasty, bigoted heart. That nonsense where he went off on Sean Davis at the Federalist, that ultra right wing,
Well, was that Levin or was that Norm Podderetz? I think it was
Podderetz. I guess went off. But
okay, so who does this
did Levin go
serve,
off, twist
then?
off on? Podderetz.
We have a Republican in the White House. We
That's
have
right.
a Republican, and we have a Republican majority in the Senate and the House. right? And we
Yep.
have all of these problems that Ron, Andrew, and myself just enumerated that aren't getting fixed. So in whose interest does this political party operate?
Yeah. I mean, we'll think about it, Stormy. Right. Trump really had like 12 months to get everything done with a majority in the House and the Senate, because after Christmas this year, everyone shifts to campaign mode, right? And everything shuts down in DC for the next 12 months. So he had a 12-month window to get everything done. And what was the priority of these people? The people freaking out about Tucker, right? The priority was that Iran would get bombed, right?
Yep.
That was their main priority. And guess what got done? Iran got bombed. Now you could defend Trump, and I will. Don't get mad at me, Stormy, but I'll defend him. Like,
No, I
that's something the
defend
president-
Trump because I don't view
that's
Trump
something
as a
the president
person.
could do,
I don't think
Yeah.
anyone should view Trump as a person. The Trump
Yeah.
administration is a group of people, lots
is
of
an
them.
entity. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
exactly.
there's obviously clearly vying factions trying to get a hold of this, right? So it's not like, oh, is Trump just doing the bidding of Netanyahu? Oh, okay, well then explain this, and this. Like, both things are happening.
Yeah.
And if both things that are happening are contrary to one another,
Yeah.
then that tells you there's something bigger kind of going on.
That's right. Yeah, you should look at the White House, the Trump administration, as like an auction house where people are bidding on things, right? That's more of what it is than like a concerted, machine that one person's in control of.
Yeah,
Because,
Mark
like,
Levin and
coalition.
Benjamin Netanyahu and every Israeli dual citizen in our media apparatus, which apparently there is quite a lot of. Again, these are things that have been kind of revealed by the denouncing of Tucker Carlson and the demanding of, basically his shunning.
Yeah, and it's
What
it's
happened
obvious.
they wanted boots on the ground. They wanted American
Oh,
soldiers to go die in Iran, and that didn't happen. We dropped 5 bombs all in the same place. We told the Iranians exactly when and where that would be happening, with enough of a heads up time for them to move their uranium.
Yeah, it was KP.
Okay, so basically, and then so everyone will tell me how the missiles that they shot back at our base in Qatar were just a show of force and really just kind of posturing, because they told the Americans exactly when and where the missiles were going to be, and that's why the missiles hit one of the largest military bases the Americas has abroad, which is in Qatar. So you fired all these missiles into the biggest military base and no one got hurt. Okay, because they let you know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the Trump administration, so when Iran does it to us, it's just them posturing and saving face.
Yeah.
But when we do it to them, it's
That's
somehow
real.
serving the bidding of Israel.
Yeah.
No, it is year of our Lord 2025, and we are neither at war in Ukraine and Iran. Why?
Yeah.
Because we know that these people that Andrew and Ron are enumerating, they wanted both of those things.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And they didn't get it. Right? They didn't get it. They've gotten some things, right? They've gotten,
And that's why JD Vance
tens
must
or-
be destroyed.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Right. They've gotten hundreds of billions of dollars, but they haven't gotten American boots on the ground. They haven't gotten American blood. And that's really what they want.
Yes, because it doesn't matter how much money you give them, they will never offer up their own.
No. And that is the frustrating thing too with all of it is you get Trump elected, right? And this is why, like, you have this coalition, right? Trump builds this coalition of very disparate interests in order to just squeak past Kamala Harris, right? Yeah, he beat her, more handily than he did Hillary. He got more electoral votes, things like that. But like, he just squeaks past her, and we win by the skin of our teeth. And you have this large, you have like Make America Healthy Again, crunchy mamas, voting for Trump. You have heritage and American blue collar guys voting for Trump. You have Mark Levin types voting for Trump. And you have all this wide coalition with vastly disparate interests, things that they care about the most. And what does that coalition, right, the Israeli part of the coalition, what do? They demand that you treat us as the number one top priority for everything, to the detriment of everything else, or we're done with you, or we'll blow the whole thing up, right? Like this is, I was telling Ron about this earlier. I'm like, this is the Samson option of the MAGA coalition, right? If they don't get the thing that they want, which is they have absolute supremacy over the conservative movement, over our entire agenda.
Well, I'm glad they're saying it, not me, because if I said it, I'd be an anti-Semite.
That's right. Yeah, but that's what they're doing. And so it leads me to think, like, what's the game theory behind this, right? Like, obviously, like, Tucker's not stupid. And
it's a bluff.
He knows. Well, I don't even know if it's let me elaborate. He's not stupid. He knows what the reaction was going to be. I think he's pretty certain what the reaction would be bringing Nick Fuentes on his show, right? And so you're thinking, Tucker, why would you do that? Like, why would you provoke this reaction? This like totally unhinged freak out where like 3 weeks later, this is the only thing these people care about is like destroying him.
He's forcing Americans to choose.
Yes.
Before the midterms.
He's bringing it out before the midterms and well before the 2028 primary season, right? Because Vance is his guy. And they know this. You could see this now. They're saying, well, this is actually about JD Vance. Like JD Vance is an anti-Semite and he's horrible and he's terrible because look at the answers he gave at this TPUSA event where a bunch of groypers asked him about Israel. And his answer is like actually what I believe, which is, right, we're happy to be friends with you, but if your interests are different than our interests, right, if what's in the interest of the American people conflicts with what you think your interests are, right, we're going to pursue our interests, right?
Yeah, so let that 2% of less than 2% of our population go pitch the rest of the population who are all barely able to put food on the table, who've had all their jobs replaced, right? And their standard of living destroyed. Tell them that they need to act in against America's interests for this foreign state. Yeah. And this is why I think it's a bluff, right? Yeah. Because if you force America, they're like, oh, well, you need to, bow to, Mammon and the nation of Zion, or we're going to blow up the Republican Party ahead of the midterms. Yeah. And I think, okay, well, that's very interesting. Yeah. Because all Americans have to do is just speak very plainly to each other for once. Yeah. And then it's really a referendum on this issue. Yeah. And you guys represent less than 2% of the population and 75% of your vote left anyways. Yeah. So exactly how many of you are there in the Republican coalition? How many votes? I understand there's lots of people in positions of authority. A lot of donor money though, Stormy. A lot of donor money. Yeah. But you can buy, what does donor money buy you? Advertisements on TV, which nobody watches. Where are people actually making their political decisions? Online. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, I mean, just look at the last election. Like, look at what Trump's strategy was to go on like every podcast but mine. Right. Like that, then you were next on the list. Maybe in 2028, JD could come on out. We'd be happy to have you as much time as you want, Mr. Vance. We'll fly you out here. But seriously though, like, yeah, you're right. Like, you don't need the mass media any longer. Yeah, you don't need to pay for ad space, right? Tucker's existence proves that. Yeah,
that's exactly right, Stormy.
Yeah, and then you look at like, okay, Ben Shapiro does this video denouncing Tucker and like playing all of like Nick's greatest hits of like the most offensive things he's ever said, and like this is who Tucker loves, and that gets like maybe 100,000 views, which is like cool. I'd love 100,000 views on my YouTube channel. That'd be cool. But right? Tucker does a video with the guy who's running against Lindsey Graham, right? The like #1 pro-Israeli guy in America that isn't himself Jewish. And
but he is a
Tucker
homosexual, though.
Yeah, he's very gay, deeply closeted homosexual, and he
Many such cases.
in the Republican Party, absolutely. He does a video with him, with Graham's opponent. What's his name? Dan something. I can't remember. This is maybe I'm failing at this point because no, not Dan. No, not Dan Crenshaw. And he does a video with him, and that gets like 4 million views, right? Which is like a one-off video. Like mine, the one you do with me, I'm a nobody, does a couple million views, right? Like the big giant one that got tons of traction everywhere by Ben Shapiro got 100,000, right? Like they are not as popular as anybody thinks they are. They don't have anywhere near as much say in among the actual populace, right? And if you're telling people they have to choose between Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro, right, they will choose Tucker 99 times out of 100. Right?
Only the boomers will choose Ben Shapiro because they don't know any better.
That's right. Now, even if you're choosing between Tucker or not Tucker, but JD Vance, the vice president of the United States, who the stuff that he says, like his acceptance speech at the RNC, where he's saying America is not an economic zone. It is not a propositional nation. It's a people. It's an actual people. Right. Hearing that, right. And seeing a new Pat Buchanan, that's what you're hearing. Like, and that resonating with everyone, that is what they want destroyed. They cannot have someone who stands for the actual American people and their interests, right? Because it's clear that our interests run contrary to the interests of a country on the Eastern Mediterranean.
I'm just saying, if you've got a host, if you've got this guest minority that has been always treated very well by the host majority, and they suddenly come along and say they have the right of cultural veto over the majority, that's going to be treated first with bemusement and then with anger.
Yeah.
And this is the tripwire they're staring at. Yeah. And I hope, just because I have concern for the humanity involved, that I don't think they will, but I hope they back off, because I don't care what the minority and what the majority are. You play those type of, what culture, what people it is, you play that kind of dynamic, and you're just going to engender anger.
That's right.
I think we're way past that, Ron.
Well, but I mean not just among guys like us. I'm talking about just
everyone is guys like us. It just depends upon whether they know enough yet or not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're not insane people.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Ron. Like this, I think what they don't realize, or like maybe they just do not care, is they're provoking, wrath from people that otherwise had not only been neutral toward them, but were friendly, that always thought like, well, yeah, of course, Israel's great. I've been told my whole life they're our greatest allies and all of that. And now it's people, right, who like 5 minutes ago thought like that. And who's like the prime example of that is Charlie Kirk, right? Charlie Kirk, right? Yeah. Goes and puts on the little hat and kisses the wall, and he does all these events waving the Israeli flag all the time, and everywhere he goes, he's talking about how much he loves Israel. And then they tell him, and what's it related to? It's related to his relationship with Vance and Tucker, right? Like Tucker is the thing that precipitated all of this, right? If you don't kick Tucker to the curb, who is the most popular podcaster on the planet, right? And the most popular media figure in all of America. If you don't denounce that guy and get rid of that guy, we're going to take away $150 million from your organization, which is for that organization still a lot of, I mean, for any organization, but that one in particular, a lot of money that could do actual good, tangible things. Like they actually influence elections and make things happen and become kingmakers in the GOP. Right. If you don't get rid of him, we're going to take that money away from you. And he says, go pound sand. Right.
Boys,
like,
I have to run.
You got to go.
Go ahead, sorry.
I do have to run, but I will leave you with this. It is everyone's job to evangelize every boomer they know.
Yeah.
The only people still listening to Ben Shapiro are boomers. And I've heard this from I have host a conference call every week with a bunch of other investors, except for all of them are much, much older than me. And this topic came up and they were completely ass backwards. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. They were completely backwards on all of basically everything that we've said so far.
Yeah.
Would have been news to them.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, you got to listen to Ben Shapiro does a great job breaking this all down. So it's not confusing. Everyone boomer outreach needs to be everyone's number one priority.
Yeah.
Because all they have is the mainstream media. Yeah. And there's an FBI document from shortly after 9/11 when they arrested a bunch of Israeli art students that were videotaping the Twin Towers coming down. And one of the gentlemen that they apprehended in interrogation by the FBI, and he said something previously to the NYPD who interrogated him first, but the FBI documents are FBI interview documents or interview transcripts. He says, give us 10 years and we will buy all of your media outlets. We will own the entire media landscape in this country. And I would say that they have. I didn't think that's a threat. It seems to be reality. So our boomers, right? I mean, there's a lot of boomer hate.
Yeah.
But these are just as rational people as you or I.
That's right.
They just don't know things. And those things are deliberately kept from them. They don't know what's happening in the economy because that's kept from them too. They don't know how bad things are for young people because that information is kept from them. They don't know how bad the immigration thing is because all the people that they see are the same people they were friends with when they were kids. So the ethnic demographics of America still look like it did in 1970 when they stopped paying attention. And they've been lied to about how it's changed. When I tell a boomer that their grandkids, when they go to school, are going to be a minority in their own classrooms, they don't believe me. And I say, go home and ask your grandkids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And if you notice, when I go to a restaurant, the waitresses that are taking care of me are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. Those used to be jobs for teenagers.
Yeah.
They don't know why their kids are sitting at home and not working because the jobs that used to be for teenagers have to go to people that should be working real jobs whose jobs have been replaced. Right. So all of the stuff that they say about, oh, teenagers need to pull themselves up from their bootstraps. They need to do this. They need to do that and stop playing video games so much. These people aren't evil. They're not malicious. They've just been lied to.
They have no idea.
They have literally no idea. They've been told Israel is their greatest ally because they haven't been told any different.
Right.
And they still are a large voting bloc for the next 10 years. So it is of the utmost imperative that we actually stifle some of the boomer hate that we have and reach out to these people.
100%.
Well, and
Very
Stormy,
well said, Stormy.
Yeah, Stormy, I know you got to get going. I think that's part of what this whole thing is like boomers watch Tucker as well. Right. Like they'll figure out a way. They don't know how to use the internet too well, but they're like, oh, that guy, I like him. He was on Fox News. He was the best guy there. And they'll, play on their phones until they find his podcast to listen to it. And it's forcing them to choose. between the TV that's been lying to them their whole lives, or someone who's going to tell them the truth. And enforcing that issue, they're discovering a whole lot of, like, I mean, like you say, like, yeah, everyone loves to hate the boomers and so forth. And I've been guilty of that in the past, of anti-boomer sentiment. But like, you know what the most like radical thing in the world is a boomer that figures it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
A boomer that discovers everything he's been sold his entire life is complete garbage. Like, you think like Zoomers are radical and angry and all of that? No, like a boomer that gets it is dangerous.
Just look at all the boomers that got shot by the FBI for Fed posting. Once a boomer knows things, and these are also people with means, right? These super donors don't matter so much when you get a couple thousand, boomer millionaires.
Yeah, that throw a few thousand here and there. Yeah.
But on that note, gentlemen, I must run.
I gotta go too.
See you, Stormy. Hey, man.
All right.
Great to talk to you.
All right, everybody.
I will convey all of your love to our friends when I see them momentarily.
Please do. Tell them hello. Well, all of you, thank you so much for watching and listening. This has been a really good conversation. I'm sorry CJ wasn't here for that. He especially would have loved hearing about the president of India, Mr. Modi. But he'll have to listen to it later. But this is a conversation that's going to continue going on, and everything that's kind of been under the surface is right out in the open now. The question, I mean, I'm sure you saw this video, Ron, of Ben Shapiro. It's an old one where he's just saying, right, basically, if things get bad enough in America, I can always go to Israel, right? And it's like, my kind of, I mentioned, Sam Hyde, his like, don't argue about what the definition of an American is. And my kind of like definition inside my head is an American is a person in America that has nowhere else to go when everything goes haywire. Right. That's an American. Well, America is, this is home. I'm not going anywhere.
That video, and then the one that I saw just recently that's also been going around where he just I think he was on, I don't remember which podcast he was on, but he was on somebody else's show, and he said, well, Jesus was just this political rabble-rouser, and he got what he deserved.
Yeah, this is what this guy thinks about your Lord.
He pissed off the Romans, and they killed him. And I'm like, well, first of all, you got the history wrong, but also I got some other words for you, dude.
Yeah, it's not who he made mad. The Romans were reluctant in doing it, but
the Romans protected the early church.
Right. So both of those things, like the two things besides my family that I care about more than anything in the world, right? My Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and the United States of America. This guy, Ben Shapiro, doesn't really care about at all, or like openly blasphemes. Right. That's right. I'm supposed to pretend that like I'm on the same side with this guy.
Right.
Right. No, I'm done with that. I'm done with the charade. It's Tucker all the way. No Ben Shapiro. So
and then
there we are.
Then one last thing, Matt, well, let's just keep going. No, Stormy said that we need to be very much, evangelizing the boomers. So my stepmom, who's 78 and still very much with it, I gave her a couple of things to read, gave her some of the podcasts I've been on, because she'll sit and watch, she's like my mom. Yeah. My mom's been dead for several years, and I love my stepmom. She's wonderful, and she takes care of my dad, who has Alzheimer's, and it's a sad deal. Yeah. And I really love my stepmom. But I gave her some of this stuff, and then she started exploring. She is infrared pilled. I mean,
yes.
It's
Yes.
oh, she can't. You can't get. And it's really cool to see. She was like, "How did I not know this before? Why aren't people talking about this?" So I
why not?
completely agree with what Stormy said. So
Yeah, 100% right. And yeah, just love. I mean, there's a video of Charlie talking to in like a diner or something from like a year ago, talking to people over 60. I think about the Ukraine war. I can't remember the details of it, and they have the basic like Fox News opinion about the issue, and the way that he approached them and spoke to them was from a position of like immense obvious respect.
yeah,
Right. Even though he clearly knows way more about all of this than they do. And and his operating assumption is like, I'm a young guy, I don't know that much. You're the older, wiser person, you know lots of things I don't know. And so I'm sure you heard about this, right? Oh, you haven't? Okay, well, let me tell you about it. Like, if your attitude is like the dynamic that we should have, right? If things were normal, if things were the way they should be, where the older generation knows, not only has wisdom, but more knowledge than we do about everything, right? That's what you would do, is you go to your 60, 70-year-old relative and ask them about XYZ thing, and they would give you both knowledge and wisdom together. And they don't have, like, the knowledge has been withheld from them, so you have to give them the knowledge. But do it in a way that honors them. I mean, it's like Paul talking to Timothy saying, like, do not rebuke an older man, right? You have to operate that way. You have to love them and respect them. Right. Even if their opinions are
I got to
bad,
bail.
but you got to run too. All right.
I got to bail too.
All right.
So,
well, everyone, thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Stormy. We will have to do this again very soon. And all of you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and stay peacefully dangerous. And we'll see you next time.